Okay, so, before I get into things, I'd just like to say thank you very much for 246 subscribers. I posted my Adora video with 84 subscribers, and I expected it to only get about 30 views, and it's on 2,000. I've made my cat proud. Also, I watched Emily Boo's livestream the other day, and I mentioned the Adora situation, and a couple of people directed their comments at me, which was incredibly wholesome and sweet. So thank you, Sad Celery and Natasha Richardson. It made my day. Oh, and I have my adorable purring little goth helper here. You can't see her because the blanket is black and the cat is black, and it's the classic goth problem of a black animal and black aesthetic. In my first video, I tried to be very calm and collected and present my immediate evidence and what I wanted to get across, along with my thoughts on the matter. However, now I've had more time to look into all of the stuff. Pretty much, yeah, I've spent the last few days looking into Adora Batbrat, going through her socials, looking through all of that, seeing what I can find. I have dived as deep as I can, and I've found some things that I couldn't find beforehand in my previous time frame. At this point, I'm beyond disgusted, which sounds quite harsh, but you'll see what I mean when I get into everything else. This is not a chill video, as you can probably tell. If you want one of those, I have others, but I'm assuming that if you're here for the drama. So that's what I'm going to give you. Also, a lot of this is going to be heavily opinionated, which will deviate from my previous video to a degree. So these are just my opinions. Feel free to leave your own opinions below. So, let's start off with how people are feeling about her, shall we? People are not happy, and neither am I. Quite a few creators have made videos on her now, so I think it's pretty clear that this becomes something that she can't just brush off again as she's done in the past. And it seems like a lot of the alternative community are finally done with her actions. Also, Victoria Lovelace made a video on the situation, but when you visit her YouTube channel, it's now been deleted. Oh, and guess what? She wore the goddamn costume, to a party. A fucking Halloween party. You should be social distancing. Side note, there is a pandemic. If you wanted any more proof that she is doing this for attention, well, she did it again. 2 different versions that I can find, one of the UK and one of Sweden. It's the same sort of message as the American version, however these aren't hypersexualized, they're demure. She's probably trying to show that she wasn't being prejudiced towards Americans by doing it to her own country in the UK too. However, that doesn't change the fact that what she was doing initially was wrong. And it also doesn't change the fact that she doesn't understand what she was doing was wrong, and the fact that she knew it was going to hurt people and she just didn't care. So following her actions, brands have started dropping her. I mean, Killstar, who have had their own share of controversies, has dropped her. You know you screwed up when Killstar drops you. I'm going to butcher this name and I'm very sorry, but Seraphim and Nahemah, a POC and LGBTQIA owned lingerie and nightwear brand. The creator loved Adora's style, which is what a lot of us followed her for. The creator loved Adora's style and wanted to collab with her modelling the onesie, which ended up being named after Adora, however this name has now been changed. After the disgusting Halloween costume saga, the creator contacted Adora and asked that Adora's post, which was her dancing in this onesie, be taken down. Instead, Adora restricted comments. Seraphim, as I'm going to call the company as a whole because I cannot pronounce it in its entirety, posted their conversation on their Instagram page, which I'm going to summarize, so please pause to read if you'd like to read the entire thing. Adora says that she's sorry her post affected her. However, she's not really sorry about her actual actions, is she? She's just sorry that this post affected this person. As she says in her previous video, you're responsible for your own triggers, which is bullshit. It is absolute bullshit. And she's probably not going to learn anything from this entire situation, which she hasn't done in previous situations. Adora agreed to remove the post, so she archived it. She then reversed that because she says she changed her mind about removing the post because she posted it with a pure heart. You're not posting something with a pure heart if you're going after rape victims. Do I need to spell this out? Do I actually need to spell this out? Somebody please answer me. I was trying not to get annoyed in my first video. I don't think I can do that in this one. It seems that Adora made the post but didn't want to receive any negative reaction, but as I previously stated, when you post something on the internet, you are opening yourself up to this negative criticism and the commentary that comes along with it. Sorry, I've started speaking very quickly. When I get annoyed, I speak quickly. I'm going to try not to do that. Her saying, people need to think more positive, just sounds like the equivalent of, you need to get over it. It's basically the same thing. Essentially, she doesn't actually take in anything that Seraphim says. She just brushes past it with excuses and just moves on with her life thinking that she didn't do anything wrong. Whilst you could argue that she was trying to wear the outfit as social commentary, there is a way to create social commentary, but this costume isn't it, and it will never be it. I came across this, and this post is upsetting, so please continue at your own discretion. Nahemah, aka Mixi Pix, on Instagram, posted this on October 29. It's quite long, so I'm going to summarize it. It's rather long and detailed, so I'm going to just summarize it instead of reading it verbatim. So please either pause to read, or I'm going to link her Instagram in the description. Why was that so difficult for me to say? Mixi Pix and Adora were friends for 8 years. After a serious suicide attempt and subsequent hospitalization, Adora let Mixi stay in her daughter's room for 6 months. Adora knew about Mixi's trauma, and she knew that the rape victim Halloween costume would hurt her deeply. She says that when Adora was confronted about her actions and the trauma it would cause, she silenced hundreds of rape survivors by shutting down the comment. During the time that Mixi was at Adora's house, she was in a very delicate and fragile situation, and she was considered high risk and not to be left alone, and during that time, she self-harmed twice. After the second attempt, she went straight to a psychiatric ward and was admitted because she knew the severity of the situation. Adora then kicked Mixi out of her house because she doesn't tolerate self-harming. You know, the preaching love and positivity Adora? Adora visited Mixi at the psych ward just to tell her that she wasn't allowed back. You remember that photograph I showed you in my last video? This one? Of Adora in a wheelchair being incredibly condescending and insulting towards people with disabilities? That one? That was directed towards Mixi, her friend of 8 years. In regards to the Halloween costume, Adora sent Mixi a personal excuse. Adora says that she stands by her post, but she's sorry to Mixi. You don't do that to your friend. You don't mock their mental state and poke fun at their trauma, and you also don't post something that you know is going to hurt people and do it anyway. Also, I'd like to point out that while I was deep diving, I found a video posted on the 15th of July 2007 titled Goth Girls and Razor Knives, in which Adora makes the I'm a black girl shirt, this one. She jokes about self-harming and slitting her wrists at the end of the video.
So I did this one. I didn't even think people think that. But isn't it like the funnest ever? Oh no, people came up to me all the time and said, oh no, but you're such a colorful person inside. Now when I think about it, that kind of makes me depressed now. So I'm gonna take my razor blade and go into the bathroom and smear my blood all over the walls or something.
So she jokes about mental health and mocks it, but also says that if you self-harm, you're not allowed back to her house. However, she's also promoted love and positivity, but also she doesn't understand what people need in regard to their own mental health. However, she understands what she needs with hers, which is what I'm about to get into. Now this leads me on to how Adora feels when she experiences her own trauma. She posted this on her Facebook page on the 27th of September 2019. She was talking about her awesome Halloween, but she had a trauma that still affects her, and it means that she wants to leave and get away and protect herself. How would she feel if a longtime friend of hers treated her the same way that she treats her friends? I'm guessing she wouldn't like it. So essentially, she doesn't understand the sensitivity and the fragility surrounding the trauma of others, but she requires that of her own. Now, I found this post from her Instagram. She thought that Black Lives Matter was a goth thing or a joke. Then she put All Lives Matter at the end of her post while insinuating that Americans are mentally challenged. She updated the description of the post and said, "Why can't America be more like Sweden?" So that's twice she's gone after America that I can find. She also states that she'd never thought about police brutality on black people as a thing. This has been going on for decades upon decades. Oh, do you not realize how long this has gone on? Racism has gone on for centuries. It took me 2 minutes to find quite a few articles and a study about racial profiling by the Swedish police. Yes, racial profiling is a problem, but it's one that is not confined to the US. It's widespread. I found a timeline by the BBC about black deaths caused by the police since 2014. This is not something new that's happened in the last month. This has been going on for God knows how long. It's like she lives in her own little world. It's so frustrating. Leading on from that, she posted a blackface photograph on her Instagram. I mean, really? I have no idea if it's her in the photograph, but you shouldn't be posting that anyway. I talked about this in my last video, and I found it. The rumoured Hitler moustache photograph. The description says, "We're in Germany and have black nails. Hashtag just a joke but hurts. Hashtag making fun of evil." I have no idea when this is dated, but it clearly shows this pattern of problematic behaviour. From, the thinking Black Lives Matter was a joke, posting a photo of blackface, the I'm a black girl t-shirt, what else is there? Not understanding people's mental state, the rape Halloween costume, which I've already covered in my previous video if you'd like to go and watch that, which brings me on to the effect that Adora Batbrat has had on the alternative community and people's perception of the alternative community. Now, I'm not talking about the reaction from the alternative community, but instead her representation of it. One could argue that as someone who's been posting on social media with widespread views for 13 years, she has a responsibility to represent the alternative community as a whole. She's almost an ambassador for it, if you will, and I would argue that almost anybody who posts on social media publicly, whether you're an influencer or anything, has a responsibility to represent your community. It's a grey area and everyone has their own opinions on this, but that's an argument that could easily be made and one that I would argue for myself. According to her YouTube channel, she has 14.5 million views in its entire history. And while she doesn't really post regularly on her YouTube channel anymore, recent events aside, most people in the alternative community have heard of her in one form or another, whether it's through her band or through her looks, her videos, her Instagram posts, anything. If you're sort of, especially when you were younger, because I've noticed that quite a lot of the comments that I've had on my previous video were people talking about how they looked up to her when they were younger, but they don't anymore after these recent events. A lot of people, myself included, used to look up to her. I used to really like her makeup, and that's where part of my makeup inspiration came from. I used to like her outfits and things like that. I've heard, quite a lot of people have made videos on this topic now. Of Herbs and Altars, who else? Of Herbs and Altars, Duchess of Salt, Violet Vixane, Repzilla, Ready to Glare. Emily Boo's making one too. You've got all of these people making these videos, and I'm hoping that it means that she can't just brush this off anymore. She can't just treat it as if it's this, like, water off a duck's back. It's not going to bother her. It's not going to affect anything with her. Like, she has no accountability, and there are no ramifications for her actions, which is what there should be. You know, it doesn't matter. There are always going to be repercussions and ramifications for your actions, especially if you post online, which is what a lot of people do. Like, especially influencers. If you post, like, problematic stuff, it's always going to come back on you. And so far, it hasn't come back on her to this degree yet. I mean, especially with her past scandals, she hasn't properly apologized from what I can find. She's just always kind of brushed it off. And hopefully that's not going to happen this time. A lot of people are calling to cancel her, which, yes, but, you know, I think learning from your mistakes is also part of it. There are two more things I'd like to cover. I've heard that she threw an adult-themed birthday party for her 15-year-old kid. However, I haven't been able to find any solid evidence of it yet. If anybody makes a video including information about it, I'll link that in the description. There's also the name of her band. It's called Asperger Syndrome, and the information that I found about it is that it was named that way to raise awareness for the undiagnosed girls living in Sweden with Asperger's. But I have seen that people have taken offence to it, so I haven't found any reliable information online whether Adora herself has Asperger's, so we'll just have to wait and see if she brings that up. She's also been accused of promoting anorexia, especially with her video titled Anorexic Skinny with Food, and the fact that she says that she likes to have her body looking in the sort of pre-anorexia. And I found a video which I will link in the description, and I've also found a few blog posts about it as well, but the argument can also be made that she's showing people who are leaning towards an eating disorder that they can eat healthily and they can still lose weight. So it's kind of a tricky topic in that regard. But a lot of people, like, especially when you're younger, like, I saw Adora 8 years ago? So I was about, like, 16 when I saw Adora, right? You know, you're in that very impressionable age, and a lot of people are younger. It's very varied, your reaction to this, and you are impressionable at that age, so you've got to think about the fact that if she has a young fan base and a young audience, what kind of message is she sending to them? Especially considering she has a very sexualized presence online, which, you know, you're allowed to be sexualized, and she does say on her Instagram that she is 18 plus. However, it doesn't say that on her YouTube. That's another aspect to it, the fact that her fan base is very young, and that she could easily be influencing them in a bad manner. My final thoughts on this, though. So, I used to be a big fan of Adora's, right? I follow quite a few alternative influencers. I really like following people on Instagram and YouTube and seeing what their aesthetic is and what they think and all of that, but I'm not gonna be following her anymore after this. I really don't like the idea of supporting someone who does these kinds of things, especially now that I found out more about it. I'd prefer to sort of put my time into doing something else. And also, she said she was going to, I know my train of thought trailed off, but I don't even know how to finish that. So she said she was going to post another video, a part 2 to her incredibly condescending and disrespectful first video. However, she hasn't posted that yet. I mean, she hasn't actually lost a lot of subscribers from this, which is kind of surprising, but then she hasn't really had any subscriber growth, and her views haven't sort of increased for what you would consider. She also hasn't been posting regularly, so I can see how it didn't go up. She hasn't posted a part 2 yet, but I'm assuming that when she does post the part 2, that she's gonna disable the likes and the comments like she did in this one, which is just incredibly weak. If you're going to do something like that and you disable the likes and the comments, it just shows people that you're not open to a discussion. Well, let me know what you think about this and all the drama surrounding it. I mean, that's quite a dodgy pass, to be fair. Let me know if you want me to make a video about any part 2 if she ever makes it, because I think that could be quite interesting, sort of properly dissecting it. If she does make a part 2, it might not be longer than a minute like the other one was. She's been making content that's a lot shorter, so it could be following that trend. Let me know about all the random shit that I've dug up that is questionable. and let me know if you know of any more, because it seems like it's never ending. My cat's so cute. She's just been sleeping here the entire time. She's been purring. She's so cute. But yeah, I hope you have a good day. Toodle pip.